What's up guys, it's me Jeremy, and finally I'm ready to teach you guys how to deal with ragers. I spent literally months theory crafting and preparing for this video, and it was definitely worth it. Let's get started. We all have those games where our teammates are annoying. I personally don't care when someone feeds, but when someone rages, oh my god, does it make me hate this game. Now, when attempting to nullify a rager and shut them down, it's important to understand the risks. If you fail with your psychological tactics and what you do backfires, it could end up in someone AFKing. However, I believe that the risk is definitely worth the reward, since I'd rather have an AFK player on my team than a rager. And if you succeed, you can turn them into a solid teammate. Throughout your Perils of YOLO queue, there will be 3 types of ragers that you will encounter, in order of how bad they are from worst to, well, less worst. The Flamer/Blamer, the Negative Nancy, and the Passive-Aggressive player. Each of them needs to be dealt with in a particular way, and using my nifty analogies, you can hopefully learn how. Starting with the Flamer and Blamer. Now these really are 2 separate types of ragers, but they're dealt with in the same way, so I've grouped them together. This type of player is going to be like your mean ex-wife. They complain and complain and complain and don't listen to any of your valid reasoning as they're tunneled in on their complaints. Now, if they're raging at you, you can just mute them, remember an old joke, and laugh it off. But this guide is about controlling ragers to promote a team environment, not a guide to prevent yourself from being raged at, as that really is just way easier. The key to dealing with this type of player is to defend the person being raged at. No matter how much they sucked, you can easily defend them with the line of, "It doesn't matter how much he or she sucked, this is a video game, no one deserves to be yelled at like that," and other things such as pointing out the positives in the person's play or in the overall situation. This tactic will cause the rager to start raging at you instead, thus removing the burden from the player who was initially raged at, just as if your ex-wife was yelling at that retail clerk and then you defended them. I mean, they're only doing their job after all. Anyways, after that you can either mute them once again or proceed to try to calm them down. Phrases like "shut up and play" work pretty well, and you can try telling them to relax or calm down like you would to any normal human being, but just like your ex-wife, that has a good chance of not working, so it depends on the person. If they look like they want to win, telling them to relax is probably going to work. If they look like they want to rage, well, then you probably shouldn't try it. Now, it's important to defend in a very passive way. Any aggression towards this type of rager will further increase the rage and likely lead to a rage quit, and you feeling very bad. Next, we have the Negative Nancy. This type of rager is always negative, no matter what the situation is. They give up 1 kill and they're negative for the entire game. And this type of player is like a cat. They do one tiny little thing and expect the world in return and think that their word is above all and that the game is over even though it's only 5 minutes in and the score is 2-3. The way to deal with this type of player is the exact same way you would deal with a cat. Constant petting. You need to constantly pet your Negative Nancy by telling them jokes or convincing them to maintain a positive attitude. Point out positives in your situation. Phrases like, "Nah man, we got this, I believe," and "come on dude, keep your head up, it's solo queue, anything can happen," are great ways to pet your Negative Nancy. Tell them these kinds of things the instant after they make a negative comment in order to show absolutely no sign of doubt. Even if you don't believe it, if you pretend like you do, they can too. You just gotta keep petting them. That's all there is to it. Lastly, we have the Passive-Aggressive player. This is by far the most popular type of rager, and yes, I do consider them to be a rager. And this type of person is like a good-hearted bully. I can't speak for others, but I was a bully once in grade school. I didn't want to be. I mean, I tried pretty hard to be a good person, but it just kind of happened. The instant I realized I was being a bully, I was very ashamed of it and made up for my actions. That is how the passive-aggressive rager is. They don't know that they're being a rager. They believe that they're simply giving advice to their fellow player, when in actuality they're doing it in a very mean way, to the point bordering on the edge of flaming. At least it certainly feels like being on the receiving end of flaming. Anyways, you want to deal with them the same way you can deal with a good-hearted bully. call them out on their actions. One of the most common things from a passive-aggressive rager is asking why in a situation. The easiest response for that is simply just why ask why, and I've never seen that response fail, as once again, this type of player doesn't know that they're raging. They don't actually want to rage. You want to call them out, but make sure you do not do it in an aggressive way yourself. Bluntly calling them a rager is a very aggressive response and will almost always backfire. Telling a joke can work well, such as, "Please no flamerino." Heck, you can probably just tell them nicely that their message was a little over the top. Just make sure that you're very nice to this person or they'll escalate into a much worse type of rager. Now, there's going to be a couple of tactics that will work for all three types of ragers, and heck, even just for dealing with people in general. The first thing I've touched over, and that is never to be passive-aggressive or aggressive when dealing with a rager. This will pretty much always escalate the situation and just make things much worse than they are. Phrases like, "We would be winning this game if you would just shut the hell up," can easily be replaced by, "We might have a better chance with a more positive attitude." The second phrase here is miles better. Rather than placing the blame on the rager, you simply place the blame on no one, and that is the best thing to do psychologically. Always read your chat messages too before you send them out, as I find that when dealing with a rager, a good portion of your responses will end up being passive-aggressive or aggressive, so I can just delete them and rewrite them when I do this, since it's very easy to end up raging at a rager, and also know when to stop talking too. Even if someone's been raging, once you get them to stop, you don't need to continually bust their balls, so once they drop it, you should too. And above all else, always remember to be nice all around. Just do your best to be very kind in a smart way with your messages with smiley faces and stuff, and make it seem like you're on the rager's side, being the good friend just trying to calm them down. And if you doubt any of my creds for this video, just remember that I'm Canadian. My name is Jeremy, and that's it for my video on dealing with ragers. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to check out some of my others on the screen right now. I'd love it if you could support me with a like, and make sure to subscribe for some more awesome content in the future if you enjoyed this video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.